Welcome to the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, an exciting thrill ride through the wonderful world of HBCU athletics. Before our trip begins, let's set a few ground rules. First, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Second, hit the like button. Third, please be sure to tell someone else about this show. Now that we've got these things out of the way, it's time for our journey to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride.
Well, hello and good evening, good people. Just want to welcome you all once again to the ride. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Aggie Eagle Classic. And we got a couple people, that are interested to talk tonight. One in particularly from the North Carolina A&T side. So, I'm going to go ahead on and just bring him on right now. Everybody welcome Mr. Troy. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, Wild Wayne, man? How you doing?
Man, we doing good, man. We doing real good. And, man, this is an exciting time of the year, as we always know, with HBCU Classics and also just rivalry football, man. So, just to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man, and just I know you're A&T Aggie, but tell everybody about yourself, man.
All right. Well, I'm a 1988 graduate of North Carolina A&T in the computer science field. I'm a diehard Aggie, especially on athletics, and I'm ready to get this thing going on this Aggie Eagle Classic, baby.
Yeah, man. And just so everybody knows. Troy has been very, very eager to battle against anybody from North Carolina Central. And, your challenge still stands, right?
Oh, absolutely. I want them to come in here. They need this work.
So, during this broadcast, if anybody from North Carolina Central feels like they want to come in and they want to talk and they want to have a rebuttal against anything that Troy says, you feel free to have at it. All right. So first and foremost, my brother, we're going to pull up just, a little bit of the history. And, I know that you can smile real good about this. Now, one thing that I do want to say is that once I created this, I went back and I did find that it actually is 54-36 with 5 ties. So 54 wins for A&T against 36 wins for Central and 5 ties. You see, the largest margin of victory in this series is A&T won 54-0 in 2019. I think you probably remember that one real well. You probably smiled hard that day.
Yes, sir.
And then also last year, Central won this matchup 30-16. All right. So then proceeding on, the longest win streak in this series was 12 games from 89 until 2001. And the Eagles are currently on a 2-game winning streak. And this year's edition, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU there in O'Kelly Riddick Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Now, I'll go back one. So talk about your recollection of that 54-0 shellacking in 2019.
Yeah, before I get there, I do want to make a statement, and I want to
go ahead, man.
I want to make sure everybody can see that, right? Aggies vote, but that's just not for the Aggies. That's for everybody else. And I don't know if you will allow me to tell you my preference, but if
go for it,
I will do it.
Go for it.
Oh, you better be voting for Kamala Harris. I know that.
Go for it, man. Like I said, we cool. All right. So all right. So just the rivalry itself. All right. The 54-0 win. And then after that, just talk about like the series and the history, man. Just all the times you've been in it.
Okay. So, that 54-0 victory actually followed a 45-0 victory at their place the year before. And I can't remember all the details around what happened, but one of the big ones I think I remember is in those 2 years, they didn't get across the 50. And they had like 20 some yards total offense in one of those games. And so, you know, it was pretty shocking to see what we were doing to them. Now, what I will say, though, is, and to be truthful here, is they were kind of in coaching transition. Their coach had left. They had an interim coach. But, hey, look, they had to get that work. We weren't going to be feeling sorry for them. Oh, you know, whoa are you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, it was great. As a matter of fact, we have T-shirts that say 99-0 for those 2 years.
Yeah, man. And I know you guys had that nice history under Coach Broadway where you guys, you know, you had an undefeated season. You won a couple celebration bowls. You know, you guys had some real good times, man. And then you guys went on and you entered into the CAA. Well, first the Big South and then the CAA, man. And now you guys are a little bit in the transition mode. But, you know, in the phase that you guys are in, though, you know, you guys are coached by Vincent Brown, and, you know, he comes from a defensive background just like Trey Oliver does.
Yep.
You know, both guys have been very, very solid. You know, Vincent Brown, he was the defensive coordinator on William and Mary's staff that went to the playoffs before he took the job at North Carolina A&T. So with everything that you guys have experienced here this season, right? You guys are 1-2 overall. You guys had a very close victory against Winston-Salem State. Hey, speak on it, man. Speak on it. You got to speak on it.
Yeah. Before we do that, let me go back to the series, because listen, I don't want the Eagles to say, "Oh, Troy is on there," not, you know, telling the full story and that kind of stuff. But the reality is that some of those victories that we have against them, we were FCS and they were D2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go back and look at the series when we were both at the same level, we're pretty even. I think we may be 1 or 2 games ahead of them, something like that. So the series is much more intense than what that record looks like, because, you know, we were on different levels. And just to make an adjustment to what you said, we actually won 4 Celebration Bowls in 5 years.
Yep.
And now what I'll tell you about that, and, you know, people want to argue with me, but it is the greatest dynasty ever in HBCU football. No other HBCU program has won 4 HBCU national championships in 5 years. And the big thing about it is we did it on the field of play. It wasn't polls at the end of the year. So yeah, now I'll get to Winston-Salem State. So have you seen the video of me that Stephen J. Gaither has put up?
I have not, but you can tell me about it. I'm sure it's
my gosh.
heated.
So, you know, he was at the Wake Forest game representing HBCU game day. And I went over to buy our band because after every game, our football team comes over and they play the alma mater and all that stuff. And so I was over there talking to some folks while they were doing that. And I looked down and I see Steven. I was like, oh, man, that's Stephen Gaither. And so he had his phone up. He was videoing me before I even saw him. so, you know, I went off. I was like, I said a whole bunch of stuff. He cut it out. But what he left in was me saying, we're going to drop 60 on y'all next week. Oh, boy. He created a video before talking about what had happened. And then, of course, afterwards saying, you know, all that. But then here's what happened. So, you know, here's what I think. I really think our players really overlook them. You know, they're D2, you know, we're this, we're that, you know, we think we're big and bad. And so we believe we're gonna go out here and blow these guys out. On the other side, I really think Winston has a better team than what they were predicted to be. I mean, they're pretty big on both their lines. And the quarterback, you know, though he's a little shaky, man, he's pretty good. They have decent running backs. So I think when those two things married up, we're overlooking them a little bit, because I think you recognize teams do that, right?
Yep.
When you're playing a lower level opponent, sometimes you're like, oh, we're gonna be. Plus, they are a better team than what they typically are, what they were predicted to be. Not to mention that we gave them great momentum on our first drive on a pass that either our tight end should have caught, or it was a little behind them and it tipped up and they got the ball and they scored the first touchdown. And then we had a few comedy of errors during the game and kept them in it. So yeah, that's what happened. I think one good thing for us is we faced some adversity in a situation where we really had to be serious about what we were doing, and we took care of business.
Yeah. Now, both of you guys, yourselves and Central, you both have a victory and you have 2 losses. You both played an ACC opponent, and you also both played a CAA opponent, right?
Yep.
So you guys lost to Delaware and they lost to Elon, both at home, and you guys lost to Duke and North Carolina Central. Wake Forest. Sorry, I was thinking about Elon lost to Duke. You guys lost to Wake Forest, and North Carolina took out North Carolina Central this Saturday, right?
Yep.
So you guys have similar kind of backgrounds there, right? Similar kind of paths, right? So you look at the way this rivalry has been. North Carolina Central is playing over the last couple of years. They play some really, really good football. Obviously, their quarterback Richard is gone. They've got a new quarterback, and they do have a very, very good stud running back, Jamari Taylor, right? I'm sure you know about him.
Oh, I know all about him.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, you've got 2 head coaches that are defensively. So we'll start with the defense part of the argument, okay?
Yep.
When A&T has the ball, what makes you guys dynamic or good enough to be able to score enough against that Central defense?
Yeah, one big thing happened to us in the Winston-Salem game is our top running back, number 1 running back, Kenji Christian, pulled up with a hamstring. Now, from what I can tell, it wasn't one of those bad hamstring pulls. So what we were told this week by our head coach is that they expect him back this weekend. So Kenji really changes the game when he's in there or when he's out. When he's in there, man, he's a home run hitter. He's about at 6'2". I think he's maybe 205, 210, something like that. And he's a game changer. But now our backup, Wesley Graves, is a power back. He isn't a big breakaway speed kind of running back. But, man, he can get the job done. Now, I will say against Delaware, they basically decided or said, we're not going to let you guys run on this. Because, frankly, we've run on every team that we played maybe in the last 2 years. Our offensive line has been very good at blocking for our running game. So our running game is a little bit questionable today because I'm not so sure 100% that Kenji's going to play. But even if he didn't, I think we're going to be a load for them in our running game because, frankly, we have a couple backups that I expect will at least be good in supplementing Kenji with Wesley. Now, our passing game, our quarterback, KJ White, is a sophomore. He started about 5 or 6 games last year, which was some good experience. But this year, he's our unquestioned starter. KJ, at this point, has not really shown how dynamic he can be. I think he's like a 10-200 in the 100. He can run. But what we've really been doing is we've been working on his pocket passing and being able to pass the football. And it's done really well. I don't know if you know, but last year, we didn't get over 100 yards passing in the first 7 games.
I saw that.
Right. Now, Kevin was a part of that, but he's a true freshman. Probably in about the 4th game he started, and eventually he got to over 200 yards against Hampton. But Kevin has our passing game is much better this year, between 150, 200 yards a game, and we really haven't done a whole lot of it yet. So I expect that what Central is going to have to face from us is a pretty dynamic running game and a quarterback that is actually really, really a dual threat. And can be a breakaway when the opportunity presents itself. Okay,
so you mentioned rushing, all right? So you guys, and this is really interesting when I look at your splits of rushing. Okay. You guys have gained 572 yards on the ground, and you've given up 579. Okay, so you're rushing for it almost as much as you've given up, which is pretty solid. Okay, yep. Now where you guys need a little bit of need to step it up a little bit, and maybe this is about your opponents that you played. Is your passing? You've only thrown for 172 net yards, and or I'm sorry, your average is 172 net yards.
Right.
And you give up on average 255. So I'm sure that you probably want to see that number of 172 average take a step up. So do you think that this is the game that your defense, that your offense can step up in the passing game?
Yeah, important in that conversation is we played a power four. And I don't know if you know the offense that Wake Forest runs, but they run this slow mesh.
Yeah. I remember when they had Sam Hartman, man. It's like they hold it, take the read, pull it, throw.
Yes.
Or just give it.
They got us on that thing quite a few times, both rushing and passing. Now, Delaware, I don't know if you know, but they are on their way to FBS.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, so from what I understand is that they actually already have access to those 85 scholarships. But I will tell you, their offensive line was huge. Oh my gosh. I mean, they were huge. I think they averaged like 6'5", 6'6", 330, some crazy number, right? So they blocked really, really well for their quarterback. So he had a lot of time and he was very mobile. So, between those two games, we gave up quite a bit of passing yards. Now, I will agree with you. We do need to increase what we're doing from our passing standpoint. But I will tell you, we are so happy that we're getting over 100 yards. It's not even funny.
You said we happy. We said we at least we're over 100 yards. We at 172, but at least we're over 100.
Yeah. Now I expect we're going to get over 200 this time. And I expect a much better, more dynamic passing game than what we've seen in the first 2 or 3 games.
I get it. And now let's flip to the other side of the ball. All right. Mm-hmm. Defensively against their offense. Now, I mentioned about Jamari Taylor, their running back. Their splits now. They have 445 yards rushing, net yards rushing over their first 3 games. They've given up 795. A lot of that, they gave up 210 to Omarion Hampton of North Carolina on Saturday. So Omarion Hampton's been running on everybody so far. So there's nothing to really feel bad about that. Likewise, though, they have struggles passing as well. Their passing average, yours is 172. They're averaging 130 yards passing a game. Right. And most of that they got done in the first half of the Alabama State game. Mm-hmm. All right. But on the flip side, they've defended the pass pretty well. They've only given up an average of 169 passing. Now, some of that might be because Alabama State had issues with quarterbacks in that first game. Mm-hmm. But still, they played a pretty solid Elon team, and then they played North Carolina. All right. So defensively, what do you guys think that you can do against them on offense?
So we absolutely have to stop that run, or we can't let it rule the game. Of course, you talked about Davius Richard not being there anymore. Hey, listen, they don't have what was, or some people say arguably, and I say is absolutely the fact, they do not have their best ever quarterback walking on that field. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Walker Harris?
Walker Harris.
Yeah, Walker Harris is no dual threat, almost guaranteed 4 or 5 yards of rush. He is not that. Every now and then he might get away or whatever. And so we have to stop that run. Now, we haven't been great at it. But I think that's going to be our focus in this game, because we recognize that if we force Walker Harris to pass the ball, he isn't going to be as good as they need him to be, especially with our cornerbacks being basically the strength of our defense. Karan Prunty and Aaron Harris over there. So yeah, we got to stop that run. There's no bones about it. We got to stop.
Okay. Now, Now let's talk about the other intangible. You
Okay.
guys are going on the road in this game.
Yep.
Now it's not a very long trip. Obviously, everybody knows Greensboro to Durham. It ain't that far.
Mm-mm.
But still, you're still playing on the road.
Yep.
So what do you think the atmosphere is going to be on Saturday night when your offense has the ball?
Oh, well, so you probably haven't been to their little stadium, have you?
I've been past it. I've never been in it, but I've been past it.
Hey man, listen, I don't know that they have 5 yards between where the stands start and where the sideline ends between where the fans are to the field. So I mean, it is if you're talking about cozy and right up against each other, man, it is that way. But you know what? They're not great fans. I mean, they cheer when they do something good, but it ain't like they're gonna be there making a bunch of noise before the fact and all that stuff. So, hey, listen, we've been in there. So, like my youngest daughter says, we're going up in their trap and we're gonna take over their trap.
Oh man, I wish the Central folks would have taken the challenge, man, because that would have been a nice rebuttal there. But go ahead, man. Keep talking.
Yeah, listen, they don't want this. Now, I don't know if you've heard this, but apparently the Blue and Gold Marching Machine, which is the reigning ESPN HBCU Band of the Year, is not going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So,
really?
Yeah. So what I understand is that they have in their stadium a set section for bands to be in, right? It's on the end of the stands. But I think they said we have like 275 members in our band, and we're too big to fit in that section that they have. And so we were going to have to take up some more seats. And they wanted to charge us, I don't know, and I don't know 100% on this, but this is the last I heard. They want to charge us $50 per person additional for it. And so I think A&T, from what I understand last, is decided that we're not going. So they won't have, that factor in the game that we'll be blowing them out of their own stadium with our 275-piece band. But listen, I'm sure you heard this thing said, we don't need no music because all we want to do. Yeah. Hey, look, we're going to take care of business. It's on the football field.
Hey, man, that's unfortunate, though, man, because this is a classic.
It is.
This is a classic.
It is.
And in the classic, you should have all the pieces that makes a classic.
Yeah.
Both bands, you got, I know you're going to have, now here's the thing. Now, it's not a VAR trip. So what do you think the split between Aggie and Eagle fans are going to be? How many of your fans going to travel up there, man?
Man, listen, their homecoming tickets went on sale on August 1st. As of last week, I haven't looked back again because, listen, we're joking them to death about this. As of last week, they still hadn't sold out their homecoming. More than a month later. I don't know if you know, but our homecoming game, when we made the remaining seats available, they sold out in less than 12 hours. In less than 12 hours. Right?
Yep.
And so it's going to be at least a 50-50 split, if not 60-40 us. Yes.
Wow. So you expect it to be pretty loud on your side.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be loud. Yeah.
Well, one thing y'all got to do, though, you can't be mighty in number and don't bring it on the field, because then you just be sitting there just being quiet. And then, you're going to have them Central fans talking to you. How it is. They don't talk to you.
Oh, yeah, they talk a little junk now, but yeah, hey, okay, let me go back. The last 2 years, North Carolina Central, like I said, has had their best ever quarterback. We, on the other hand, had a redshirt freshman 2 years ago in Charlotte who really wasn't supposed to be starting. Our starting quarterback had caught COVID in fall camp. So he didn't play. He was a senior, right? Last year, between our 4 quarterbacks on our roster, we only had 3 games experience of starting. So, we were really young at quarterback. They had their best quarterback. Running game, it's not going to change between what they had the last 2 years and what they have now. I think, it's a wash. I think our running back room is almost a wash, to tell you the truth. But our quarterback situation is what the difference is going to be. Walker Harris actually doesn't have as much starting experience as our starting quarterback has, and he's not as dynamic. Their backup, who's a freshman or whatever, doesn't have as much experience as our backup, who's a grad transfer with like 15, 16 games of starting experience. So I think you'll agree that the head of the monster on a football team is the quarterback, and that can make a huge difference. So I think Kevin White is going to be pretty dynamic this game, and he's going to let loose with more than what he's done before, both in the passing and the running game.
All right. So according to Mr. Troy, A&T is going to shut down their run, going to make Mr. Walker Harris one-dimensional, and you guys are going to outrank them with the crowd.
Yes.
All right.
They know this. They know we coming up and they trap. They know it. Oh, and let me say this. I don't know if you heard this. Walker Harris went down at the end of that first half, and apparently he's in concussion protocol. So we don't know what we're going to get.
You guys, they had the backup plan. Yeah, I saw that. They had the backup plan. I didn't know because, they haven't said anything about it. But, this time of the week is gamesmanship. So, you probably get up there. You probably come to the game on Saturday, and then you probably will know who the quarterback is when they break the huddle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we'll get a little indication of it when they're warming up, too, if he's out there in uniform. So now, good thing, I think, for us is that we did get to see a little bit of who might replace him as opposed to them playing initially in this game. So that was a good thing. So we have a little bit of tape on those guys. Okay.
Now, the band isn't coming. Yours isn't coming.
As far as I know, it might, but as far as I know, it's not.
Okay. But let's talk about both bands now. All right. So we know we've seen North Carolina A&T's band. We've seen it in its full entirety.
Yes.
We've seen them at GHOE. We've seen them at different places on the road. We know this. All right. But according to you, what makes the band at A&T not just, as you would say, better than North Carolina Central? What makes your band just as good, period? Because, I come from SWAC country, man.
Yes.
And there's some bands down there in SWAC country. So, go ahead on and enlighten the folks now. According to Troy, the band.
Yeah. So let me help you out on something. You said GHOE. Just go. You can just go ahead and say GHO. It's GHO. That's where you pronounce it. That's where you say it, right?
According to GHO. There it is.
Yeah. And you do know if you do a Google search that GHO comes up on Wikipedia and all that stuff, right? All right.
You let me have it today, boy. Go ahead.
Yeah. Man, listen, wait. Before I go, how about Albany State? Somebody down there put together a flyer for their homecoming and put GHO on it. Greatest homecoming on earth. What? Do they not know we have that copyrighted? Somebody going down in this. They better get it straight. All right. From a band standpoint, can I tell you a little story?
Go for it, man.
Man, listen. Trey Oliver, their football coach last year, after the game, they won the game. After the game, they interviewed him, and he's talking all kind of trash about A&T ain't gonna see this kind of environment anymore, HBCU and the bands and all that stuff. And then he said, the referee said something to him about the bands playing during play, and so they had some kind of conversation around it, and so Trey said something to the referees like, well, it's not a big deal against basically he was saying the white schools because they only have clarinets, and in the HBCU bands we have 100 tubas, right? So I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, whoa, calm down, coach. So I went and looked at their band. Guess how many tubas they had?
Go ahead, man. Less than 5.
Well, you know what? You went too far. They had 9 whole tubas.
Okay, all right.
So you know, I was like, oh, I know he ain't talking trash about a bunch of tubas, and they only have 9. So I gave him a nickname all last year of 9 tubas. I call him 9 tuba
band.
Yeah, 9 tubas. But now to make it worse, and listen, I didn't go out looking for this. It fell in my lap. Norfolk State. I noticed that Norfolk State was playing Towson very close when they were playing them. So I happened to see their halftime. Guess how many tubas Towson had?
Yeah, they definitely had more than that.
Yeah, they had more than 9. I can't remember. They may have like 13 or something like that. So I went back to the trash talk group. I was like, "Hold, I know y'all not talking trash about 100 tubas. You only got 9. Towson got more than y'all. Delaware had more than them. I was giving them the business about the PWIs having more tubas than they had. So of course, I'm sure that they did this because I gave them such a hard time. They wanted to get me off their back. So this year, oh man, they were talking a little trash. Oh, wait until he sees. Wait till Troy sees, right? So somebody sent me a video. They got like 17 tubas this year, right? so
they probably knew you was messing with them, man. They heard you.
I was all on them all year long, right? I was killing them. Every time I said something to them, I call them 9 tubas, right? So I was like, wait a minute, wait. They got 17 tubas, but they still got that little band. So I was like, man, that tuba's gonna overshadow them. So I gave them a different nickname this year. Too many tubas. They got too many tubas. I call them TMT.
Y'all got all the acronyms working, huh?
Yeah. Listen, they can't win. They don't have enough. They got too many. Next year, they're going to be trying to have, they're going to fix it right. But I'm going to get them with something else. So they can't win. All right. So if our bands were competing, you know what? They put on a pretty good stand show. They talk a little trash. They play some decent songs and all that stuff. And we do too. But man, on the field, it's a whole different world. I mean, the stark difference between, now they might be a little bigger this year, the stark difference between the sound that comes out of the blue and gold marching machine compared to their little band is night and day. And so they have no chance. They don't talk as much trash. It's just a whole different thing. The pageantry that we have, the great ladies, the sweethearts of HBCU dancing teams, Golden Delight. Hey man, listen, they as much as they try not to, they try to say it wasn't the case. They made a movie about our band, man. I'm sure you know Drumline, Atlanta A&T.
Yep.
Atlanta A&T, blue and gold, right?
Yep.
So, hey, listen, and guess who put them over the top in Drumline? Cold Steel, North Carolina A&T's Drumline. So it's no contest, man. I'm sure they're so happy that we're not coming. Matter of fact, my wife is an Eagle, and she heard it last night. She's like, "Yeah, we don't want them to come." I was like, "Look, you ain't got to say that. I know y'all feel intimidated when that band comes in there."
So with your wife being an Eagle, okay, so y'all are house divided right now. Then, okay, so
matter of fact, she's called me twice since we've been on here.
So she didn't want to take the challenge against you neither, huh?
Oh no, she's not a trash talker.
Okay, but what do you say? What do you say right now? What do you say right now? We'll put a pause here for a second. What do you got to say right now to any North Carolina Central alum or anybody that didn't want to take this challenge? What do you got to say about them right now?
Pick up those feathers, because you all chickens. You chickens. I asked them for 2 days. Matter of fact, today when I posted in the group, I directed it at the ladies. I call it Lady TM Too Many Tubas. I see that your men are afraid of me. They're scared to come on to talk some trash and talk about this game. So I'm wondering if any of you are willing to come on. Man, it was stone cold crickets. Crickets. They're so scared, man. Oh my gosh. Listen, you know what? I think I need to ease up on them. Because it's no fun because there's no competition.
Well, I tell you this much though, Troy.
Yeah.
if for some if them Eagles are victorious on Saturday, bet you they'll be talking to you then.
Oh, they talk trash after the fact. That's what they do. That's what they do. They talk trash after the fact. But look, they've been able to talk it these last 2 years. We did it for 4 years straight. They did it 3 years straight then before that. So, hey, we go back and forth. But the world's going to change this year. We're getting ready to get this thing back in order. It's been out of order for a couple of years.
Okay. All right. So we talked both schools. We talked the coaches. We talked the players. All right. We're at this point now, the final ride of the show.
Okay.
Mr. Troy, I need your score prediction for Saturday night.
Well, you know what? So we have A&T has this pro board called Blue Death Valley, right? So every game, somebody posted a challenge for score, then a tiebreaker for number of yards, how much rushing, how much passing, and all that stuff. Here's what I say every time. Put the ball down. That's simple. Put the ball down. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to give you a prediction. And here's how far I'll go. We're going to beat them by 10 or more, however the score turns out. 10 or more.
By 10 or more.
Yep.
Okay. And so you think defensively, y'all gonna make the difference. Y'all gonna shut them down on defense. You gonna have a stadium at a hush silence when it's all said and done, huh? That's what you feel.
Oh yeah. All you're gonna hear out there is Aggie's saying all our chants, AGGIE, would, PRIDE, would, give me that. Hey, we got 4 or 5 of those janks. But yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. Now I will tell you, we're gonna have to be on guard because in past years, man, they want to fight us for some reason. I really don't understand. I mean, you're probably too young to know about the 1988 basketball game that ended up on national news, aren't you?
I was 10 years old, but you can tell me about that.
So we were playing them in our gym in Club Corbett. You know about Club Corbett?
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah. We were playing them in there, and I don't know, something broke out, man, and the fight on the floor happened, and it slowly progressed itself all up in the stands, everywhere. Matter of fact, I would have been at the game because I was working at IBM over in Raleigh. But me and one of my boys had started a graduate chapter of the National Society of Black Engineers, and we had an executive board meeting that night that I decided I didn't want to miss. How about my wife was actually at the game at that time? So, hey man, it was all ESPN, ABC, NBC, all that stuff. I went to work the next day, and of course the folks are coming knocking on my office door saying, "Hey, was that your school that yeah, man. Hey, yeah, that was us." But yeah, man, national news. It was crazy. And we've had a couple other fights. Matter of fact, we had to stop playing football for a few years. Yeah. Didn't play in each other's venues for a few years. But it's all them, man. They want to fight us for some reason. You know what it is? It's the little brother trying to get the bigger brother. They get a lick in every now and then. And so that's what it is. I want to be like him. I want to beat him up one day. Listen, man, we bigger than you. Don't get away with that, man.
Well, there it is. You have it. A&T fans, you make sure that you party responsibly on Saturday night. It's the renewal of the Aggie Eagle Classic, 7 p.m. Saturday night on ESPNU, right up there in the city of Durham, North Carolina. One of the best rivalries of HBCU sports. Yep. Taking the field once again. Yeah,
how about I'm getting ready to beat feet over to a restaurant sports bar that here in Charlotte that we have an Aggie Eagle mixer. And so I'm getting ready to go over there and make sure they understand what's going to be going on Saturday.
That's what's up, man. And if they need any reminder, man, you make sure you tell them they can come back and they can see this and they can hear your words. And they can comment. They can get in the comments and make comments after we leave the air. They can say what they want to say in rebuttal. I'll read them and I'll relay them to you.
Okay, listen, I'm going to make sure they get this video. I might give it to them every day for next month. Y'all was scared. You could have been on here to protect yourselves and all that stuff, but you just too scared chickens. You're not eagles, you chickens.
Well, Troy, man, this has been a pleasure, man. I've had a good time talking to you and just hearing a little bit more about this rivalry. And best of luck, man, to you guys on Saturday night and all your Aggie fans worldwide, man. So,
all right, Wild Wayne, man, I'm glad for the invitation, man. Anytime. Yeah. Hey, matter of fact, if you want to do this next week with South Carolina State, I can do that too.
Hey, I already saw they were talking about that. Now I know South Carolina State people, them folks, they'll be here.
Yeah. And listen, we going for number 8 in a row. Yeah.
Oh, number 8 in a row? Okay, yeah. So we may have to set that up, man. I may have to set that one up. We have to do a Thursday night rivals, North Carolina A&T against South Carolina State, man. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, you
can even pick your opponent, man, if you want to.
I'm getting ready to tell you right now. I forget his name, but Blitz City Podcast. It's 2 of those guys. You can bring them both. Matter of fact, I think one of them is my fraternity brother.
Hey, hit them up, man. Get them in contact with me, man. We'll set it up. We'll do it next Thursday night, man. We'll do it for real.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get him. And that, listen, they don't want none of this, but I'm gonna try to get him on.
Well, all right, Troy, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead on because I know you got the mixer. So, man, thanks again, man. And yeah, if we can do it again next Thursday, let's do that. All right.
Yeah, man. I'm always ready to talk trash and spit facts, baby.
That's what's up. All right, man. Y'all. Talk to you. And that was Troy. And so that was another one of these great occasions. Thursday night rivals, Aggie Eagle Classic going down Saturday night. So everybody, make sure that you hit that like button. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe. And thanks for joining me once again. The Ride.